welcome to the Fold Mysteries, where we seek to discover everything that lies between the folds of reality. And I don't think I got to tell you this last week, Abe, but I really love the new background. That's very cool.
Do you like that? You did bring it up. I was just
Okay.
filling around, and it was like this, or should I just go with the banner that's behind me that's kind of breaking through? So either
Yeah.
way, you can't go wrong. I mean, yeah, and that black and green, oh my gosh, it makes you just pop. So
Yes.
awesome. Yes. And that's coming up right around the corner. I should say right around the corner. We still got some time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so much been doing. So much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You've had your hands full with research and getting ready for the conference. And,
Yes.
you're also work as
There's
well.
that too. There's that
Yeah.
too. Yeah, and on top, I'm kind of like you.
Your plate gets a little empty, and you're like, let me just fill it back up again.
Yeah, and I say that because yeah, absolutely. I was out in the field just this past weekend again, and the weekend before. It was like pretty much every weekend in May, to be honest with you. And I'm heading back out again this weekend for Father's Day. I got my son with me. We're going to be doing some camping and some researching with Littlefoot. And it's a classic rookie mistake. I went up to where we have these TP formations to put in new batteries and a bigger gigabyte SD card. Lo and behold, I didn't format the SD card. So I got to go back up there and put a formatted SD card in there and take that one that's in there right now that I did not format and bring that one back down here or wherever. I'll probably have to do it on the laptop, honestly. The laptop will do it. Maybe I'll just bring the laptop up and format it up there. So it's cool. I love it. But however, it's about a 3-hour drive from where I'm at. And it gets me out in the field. And, I have a team of Pops. He's like, well, why don't you use the one where it sends you pictures to your camera? I'm like, well, Pops, I mean, I only can see what's right in front of the camera then. It doesn't get me what's going around the area. That says there's more to the research, Pops. You got to walk around. You got to know your area. You got to know, the prints, what animals are out there, where's the berries, find the berries, if there are any berries and stuff like that. I know that. So I like to get out there. So what I meant is I'm kind of like you. On top of that, I kind of said a little something last week about it. But now what we're going to do, oh, here comes the goosebumps. I was thinking, what more can I do, to get the awareness and education out there for the Minnesota. So we've already been doing the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference. This is going to be our 7th one. But then I was at my friend's 40th birthday party. Unbeknownst to me, they've had a sighting on a lake here in northern Minnesota about 10 to 9 years, maybe 11 years ago. That's why I met these guys. They have 2 kids. Their son, unbeknownst to me, they show him my videos and stuff, and he wants to be a Bigfoot researcher when he grows up. It is so adorable. He says to his mom, it's like a dream come true when I was leaving and stuff like that. And that melted me. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it took me a couple of days to think about this. I'm sitting around spinning wheels, then it comes to me, the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team Kids Bigfoot Weekend Camp. And so we're going to have a weekend camp. We're teaming up with the Reamer Motel and Campground. They're one of our sponsors. They've been sponsoring us for the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference since we started. And we're going to have the first ever Minnesota Bigfoot Kids Weekend Camp where we're going to teach them what we know about Bigfoot, the folklore, the Native American side of it, the 4 horsemen of the research Bigfootery, I guess you can say. On top of that, we're going to teach them other wildlife sounds and prints and stuff like that. So, it's going to be a good thing. And I've been busy collecting tents and sleeping bags and air mattresses just to help, just in case they want to come, but they don't have the means or the equipment to do that. So we've been taking donations, and I've been driving around like a madman. Seriously, getting different kind of camping gear in hopes.
I love that. I love that. The my favorite part about the research is not just the excitement of being out in the woods, but it's also the kids. I
Yeah.
love the kids. When the kids are totally into it, it just melts my heart. And I
Yeah.
think that you're doing a really great thing by, um, teaching them that there's ways you can tell what things are in the woods.
Mhm.
The woods don't
Yeah.
have to be a scary place, and that different animals make different sounds, and there's different
Yes.
things that animals eat on, and it's not just about Bigfoot. You're also teaching them about other stuff. So
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's really really cool. I love that.
Yeah, we're also going to try to implement different plants, poison ivy, poison oak,
Yeah,
some
that's good.
what's edible foraging plants and stuff like that. So
That yes, foraging is a loss is becoming a lost art, and I
it
think
really
it's
is.
great that
Yeah,
you're doing that because I think that getting their interest in that going at an early age will be super beneficial to them as they get older. I
you
mean,
know,
honestly.
yeah, he's 8 years old, and I was just like,
Oh,
wow, there's a lot of kids out there his age that are interested in Bigfoot, but they don't have
hmm,
an outlet for that here in Minnesota.
yeah,
So here it comes. Here it
that's so
comes.
cool. That is so cool.
Yeah. So that gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I think that's great. You're gonna have to like keep me filled in on how it's going, and you know, the trials and tribulations of getting
Mhm.
together and overnight camping
Yeah,
for
it's going
young
to be
ones.
fun. It's going to be
It's
fun
gonna be a
too.
lot of fun.
And
Yeah,
speaking of August, you got something kind of big going on.
I do.
Any updates on
Okay,
that?
so yes, so we're basically like we're getting down to the nitty gritty, getting the merch together, really working on some banners, and I'm sweating just thinking about my palms are getting sweaty. Like I'm so nervous because I'm doing it by myself now. It's just me, and I am so nervous, and I'm so worried that it's all going to fall apart. But at the same time, like no matter what, I just want it to be a good time for everybody that does come. So,
Mhm.
tickets are still on sale. I'm thinking about changing over my ticket servicer, just because I've had so much trouble with Ticket Leap. So I'm thinking about switching over to Eventbrite, which seems like it's a much user friendly
Yeah.
um, website. So anything that's sold on Ticket Leap is still good. And then Eventbrite tickets will become available very soon. So um, I'm really excited. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Um, but it's like it's hard because I'm doing it by
Yes.
myself now. So
Yeah.
I've got some really great people that has offered to help. So I'm going to bring them in and just make it a huge team effort. No, that's the only way that we're going to make it. So, if anybody is interested in coming, just let me know. I'll send you the new Eventbrite link as soon as I get it all set up. I started it, but I haven't put it live yet. So yeah, just let me know. And if you're interested in helping in any way and you're out in the Michigan area, you want to come up and help and volunteer, let me know because, like I said, it's all me right now. So I'm looking into volunteer services so we can write off on some volunteer hours and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot because we're going to be doing a kids corner. That was like one of our main goals was the kids corner. So we're going to need volunteers for that. Somebody to work with the kids, help them make their own casts, and stuff like that. So, if you want to help volunteer, that would be great. But otherwise, we're looking for volunteer services out in the area. So,
Mm.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I've walked in those shoes. I know what you're going through. And our very first MBC, it was like, okay, it was during COVID, at the peak of COVID. It was August 8th of 2020. It was actually our 20-year anniversary as being MNBRT. So, but you know what? We did it. We pulled it off. We had hand sanitizer and masks and everything.
Yeah.
We
Oh
had
wow. Yeah, that's rough.
Bob Gimlin coming in remote, with the help of Russ Accord and
Oh, that's
everything
so
like that.
cool.
It was
Yeah,
a great time. It was a great
that's
time.
awesome.
And yeah, if I could get out there, I'm kind of looking at the hours, not the hours. Well, yeah, I guess you say the road hours out to Irons. It's in Irons, Michigan, right?
Yes, Irons, Michigan, August 15th and 16th. And still have vendor spots open, still have ticket sales available. So, yeah, just reach
Look
out
at
to me on
you.
Facebook. And if I don't message back, just message me again. It kicks it right back to the top. So, I'll be keeping a close eye on that because I get enough to where it's sometimes hard to keep up. So, if you message me more than once, that would bring it back to the top, and I'd be able to see I missed the message. So,
Yep.
yes,
Oh
yes,
man, it's a 9.5 hour drive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, I do want to say that we do have a great guest tonight, and
Awesome.
it's kind of cool because me and this guest have been friends for like 5 years or more, and we never ever met. And I found out that they were actually going to be attending the um, Sherry. You're in the chat. Help me out. The Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
I keep wanting to
Kentucky.
just call it the Kentucky Bigfoot Conference. So I found out they were going to be attending the Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival. Series over here talking to me now.
Gorge Bigfoot Festival. Thank you. I keep wanting to Bigfoot. Check it out.
You're a Siri over
Okay,
there.
I'm getting the tinfoil. I'll be right back. No.
So yeah, so I went there and I got to meet them in person for the first time because they are actually out of Texas, and they actually have just disappeared from backstage. So we are going to wait to announce them. Yes, BRG, thank you. RRG, Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival.
Right.
But
That
aside
was
from that, we'll announce them when they come back. But yeah, the reason why I'm wearing this shirt is because we did a little photo shoot to send Abe here some photos of this wonderful Michigan Bigfoot Conference shirt. Because is this the same style you're going to have on sale up there at the conference?
Yep.
Yes.
And it's Minnesota, not Michigan.
I'm sorry, Minnesota. Minnesota. I got Michigan on the brain. I've been working on it for a while.
It's all good, sweetie. I bet you do.
Minnesota Bigfoot Conference.
Yes.
So I love this style. It is just the coolest style.
Oh, well, thank you. It went into a lot of thought, as you can see. We just changed some lettering up top.
Yeah, I love it. It's very, very, very cool.
Oh,
so
man.
if you want your Minnesota Bigfoot Conference t-shirt, make sure you attend the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference. And what are those dates
It
again?
is going to be the first weekend in October. That Saturday, October 3rd. However, we got things going on that Friday, that Saturday, the day of the conference, obviously, and that Sunday as well. So we don't just have general admission tickets already on sale at eventbrite.com, but we have 3-day VIP packages as well. And basically what that would get you is into the Friday night speaker dinner, where we go to an undisclosed location. It's more personal, more intimate with their other VIP members, the speakers, a great opportunity to talk with the speakers one-on-one, photo ops, autographs, things like that. And then from there, we head out to the woods on our Friday night hike, where we've had Bigfoot activity in the past and stuff. So, yeah, that's always a fun time to do that. And then also the day of the conference, that Saturday, it gets you front and center in the VIP section seating right in front of the stage, which will be yours all day long. And then on Sunday, the location to the speaker breakfast, Q&A. And if we get 40 people, the first 40, not 39, but 40 total, they get Minnesota Iceman statue. So it's going to be off the chain.
That is so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
So if you're ready, we'll go ahead and announce our wonderful guest for tonight.
Yes, it's all yours. I don't think you can hear us.
Welcome to the stage, Matt Lankford. So, Matt, it's good to see you. Welcome to the Fold Mysteries. Can you hear us okay? No. And he's gone.
It's not Texas. Speaking of the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference, we have a good lineup of speakers this year. We have two great MCs who are going to be there. One is a brother from another mother who's also a Minnesota Bigfoot research team member, Joel Sturgis, who was also a guest on the Folds here not too long ago. And yourself are going to be our special guest MC. Hey!
Yay! I'm excited. No pressure. Being next to Joel Sturgis. He is quite the act to follow. So no pressure, Gwendolyn, no pressure.
All right. It looks like we got Matt back here. Matt, can you hear us?
I can. Sorry about that,
Yes.
guys.
No worries, no worries. Well, let me introduce you, Matt. So, Matt Lankford has had his first sighting on May 20th, 2019. His sighting completely changed the trajectory of his life. He dove into researching Bigfoot nearly every day for the past 7 years. Matt has recently become a member of the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization, Texas branch, and also a standing member and researcher for Squatching Florida Research and Exploration, Texas branch. Throughout Matt's research and explorations, he has gained vital knowledge and amazing connections that he now calls friends. With Matt's instincts and attention to detail he has gained through the years, he has learned where and how to look for Bigfoot. He has discovered incredible evidence in his home state of Texas, and he stands with countless others in his research for Bigfoot, and Matt believes that we are all in this together. As the late Dr. Jeff Meldrum once said, discover leads to knowledge, and that knowledge can lead to new discoveries. Never stop looking. And so he continues and will never stop, ever. Welcome.
Yay, Matt. Welcome, buddy.
In the house. Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
Good
Amen.
to see you.
Wow.
So I was just telling everybody in the chat how we had never met. We've been friends for a while, we had never met. And I found out that you were going to be at the Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival in Kentucky. And I was like, I got to go. Matt's all the way from Texas. I have to go meet him in person. I'll probably not see him again for many, many years. So I went and we met, and it was a really fun time. Matt is quite the awesome guy, and he is one hell of a researcher. I mean, he takes his stuff seriously, and he works really hard to talk with everybody and learn from everybody. And you're kind of gaining your own way of researching, and I think you're brilliant.
Oh, thank you, my sister. Thank you. It's been trial and error for 7 years, as y'all well know.
That's the way it always starts.
Well, where we can start is, I didn't have Bigfoot on my radar in life. Now, I'm sorry, I keep looking for cops, man. I found a great place over here by a fishing pier on the lake where I live, and the police, they patrol and all of that, because people drink and do what they do, and
yeah,
I'm not doing it, man. Hey, I got water. All right,
there you
check
go.
out my
Yep.
Bigfoot, man. That's from Falk, Arkansas. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
I've been there.
I'm not lying, brother. I went down in the woods. Hey, and Gwendolyn already knows, and there is a vibe down around Falk, Arkansas, y'all.
Yep.
That place ain't no joke. It's a different vibe. It is, and I don't think it has completely everything to do with where you're at and getting amped up to go, out in the woods like I did on my way back from Kentucky. But there is a vibe there, man. There's something about it. Can't explain it. I ain't saying there was a Bigfoot near me, but I was on high alert, man. Bigfoot was not on my radar. It literally wasn't in life. We all grew up hearing about the boogeyman and the goat man. As that turns out, that's the Lake Worth monster near Fort Worth, Texas. Big sightings back in the day. Lyle Blackburn can fill you in on all those details. But growing up, it was the goat man, and Bigfoot was a out west thing, like everybody says, and that's absolutely 100% right. And then on May 20th, 2019, 7 years ago, I saw Bigfoot, and I saw a big one. And I saw this guy for almost a minute, 52 seconds, going back as a researcher. We try to get confirmation to what we saw and what our brain is trying to, dissect on an event like that. And so on May 20th, 2019, and this was 9:35 a.m. A lot of people can't give you the time. Uh, I didn't have the wherewithal at the moment, but minute and a half or so later, I did, and I looked at my watch after I seen this guy, and I had traveled down the highway almost a mile, and I looked at my watch, and it was almost 9:37 a.m. on a Monday morning on a really not busy highway, and I told myself right then, I saw this thing at approximately 9:35 a.m. So to get this in a nutshell, uh, in 2019, I drove an 18-wheeler. I was a fuel hauler. I delivered fuel all over the place, Texas, New Mexico, all over Texas, and Texas is a big state, y'all. Um, and this Monday morning, I had left San Angelo, Texas, and I drove about an hour and a half to Abilene, Texas, and I loaded up fuel, and I was taking it south, about an hour down to Coleman, Texas. Sorry about that. I kind of got the hiccups. We're drinking water, 110 degrees, y'all, in Texas. Oh my God.
It's hot.
I told Gwendolyn earlier, hey, I'm doing this in my truck, man, because I've got like Freon in this thing, right? Yeah. I'm not going to burn up, man. You can cook an egg out here on the sidewalk, brother. Anyway, and so I'm driving south on Highway 84. I left the Abilene area and heading south down toward Coleman, Texas. I was about 3/4 of the way there. I wasn't quite to Silver Valley, Texas. That's where I saw this guy, and um, I was looking for tornado damage, actually, because on May 18th, on that Saturday morning, about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, we had tornado warnings going off all over San Angelo, the Abilene, Texas area. There were just supercells. It was a horrendous morning, and of course, I was up. And I was off on the weekends, and I was following the storm reports coming over the TV and just keeping up with the storm. Part of San Angelo was actually hit. Kind of on the north side of town in the Bradford School District area. There were several homes that were totaled out on that. And just keeping up with the storms, they were moving east, northeast, and they got out here about 35 miles from San Angelo at Ballinger, Texas. Ballinger was hit by 2 different tornadoes. It was a mean storm. And the system kept moving east, northeast, and I remember just following it. And they had come over the TV and they said that storm spotters were reporting a large wedge tornado possibly on the ground near Silver Valley, Texas. And I know exactly where Silver Valley, Texas is, that load from Abilene to Coleman. I did that many times, not every day, but I did it many times over the years. And I know exactly where Silver Valley, Texas is, y'all. And I was like, oh, God bless them, hope nobody gets hurt and whatever. Then on Sunday night, I called my dispatch in Midland, Texas, to ask them just, what's my first load to start my week on Monday morning. And they said, you're going to go to Abilene, you're going to get fuel, and you're going to take it down to Tacoma, Texas. Said, okay. And after I hung up with them, it hit me, and I was like, oh, crap, that's where that large wedge tornado was possibly on the ground that was reported. And so I kind of got amped up on that Sunday night. And the next day I went to Abilene that morning, loaded fuel, and heading down to Coleman. That's what I was looking for, y'all. I was looking for tornado damage. Okay. I'm looking up in the hills. I'm looking up in the trees. The closer I'm getting to Silver Valley, Texas, which is about 2/3 of the way there. And, I was just amped up to see the power of Mother Nature, right? That's what we do. And I didn't want to see anybody's homes tore up, and I hope that nobody's was, but I just wanted to see some tore up trees and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And So I'm going down the highway and I'm getting close to Silver Valley. So I'm like really looking up in the hills, looking up in the trees, looking for damage. And uh, I came over this rise on Highway 84 on the highway that kind of goes in a real low grade down toward this creek area. Um, it was 6/10 of a mile to this creek. Um, both sides of the creek, the whole place, the whole area, right in that area, it's just loaded with old growth, oak trees, and undergrowth, brush, and whatnot. A really dark place, and I've been back there many times doing research like I have, and it's a
Yeah.
spooky thing. Y'all both have been in those situations. Everybody, there's a
Yeah.
lot of yeah, it'll draw you up, and so I went back by myself, and but when I came over the rise on this highway, 6/10 of a mile up there to that creek on this side of those trees, the old growth and stuff. I call it the jungle just because it's so thick and it's so dark. On the right hand side of the highway, on this side of the trees, uh, I thought I saw a black bull right there on the edge of the highway. And
Interesting.
yeah, I thought it was a black bull. And you know, as a truck driver, you know, you're covering 400 or 500 miles a day. Um, you see cattle, you see bulls, you see hogs, you see deer, you see everything. And so I just thought it was a black bull on the side of the highway, but it was like right there on the side of the highway. And so, you know, I kind of look back up in the trees and I look back up in the hills and I'm looking for tornado damage. I'm right up on this area where this thing was reported. And I look back at this black bull and he moved from left to right and stopped. And he did it in a really weird way.
Hmm.
At that moment, I thought, oh, it's not a bull, it's a black hog, just because of the way it moved. And the way it moved, it had this kind of like an undulation, is the way I like to
Mm-hmm.
describe it. It had kind of this wobble to it, which made me think, you know, oh, it's a hog. And mind you, I'm closing distance. This whole event's going by fairly quick, and I thought it was a black hog. And then I look back up in the hills and back up in the trees, just amped up to see tornado damage. And I look back at this hog, and I guess my brain registered that because of the storms on Saturday morning, because this happened on a Monday morning, because of the storms, that maybe somebody's pin went down and somebody's, you know, big old 600-700 pound black hog, this prize hog, the show hog, had gotten out. And that's just, I guess, what my brain registered.
That
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And because of the storms, and that's what I thought. And so I looked back up in the hills, back in the trees, and I looked back at this hog. Well, this hog was now walking.
Ah,
And okay. And I thought, oh, you know, it's a guy. You know, it's a big guy, but it's a guy. And I look back in the hills and back in the trees looking for, I'm coming up close where this area was going to be for tornado damage. And I look back at him again, and that's when I took pause. And that's when I took pause. And I was looking at him and I'm thinking, what is he doing wearing an Arctic suit? Like what you'd wear in the North Pole or the South Pole. And, and in hindsight, that was just the shape of his head,
yeah.
uh, his stature, like when people were wearing an Arctic suit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is May 20th, 2019. Tornado had come through there 2 days earlier. It was hot. It was muggy. When I was loading fuel at 8:30 in the morning in Abilene, Texas, you get out of that tractor and you just start sweating. It was one of those mornings. Y'all know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. No wind, hot, muggy. And I'm like, what is he doing wearing an Arctic suit? And this is a big guy. And I remember I kind of looked back in the trees in the hills again. I look back at him and I'm closing distance. I have closed half the distance. I'm probably 3/10 of a mile. And if anybody knows what 3/10 of a mile is, you're
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Wow. I was into the retelling of his experience there.
Yeah.
I really like how he's including his thought process throughout the whole thing because you can kind of put yourself in that situation and kind of understand.
Yeah, you know exactly where he's coming from and his thought
Yeah.
process and how he's feeling and what he's thinking. And he's seeing it as a hog, but then it stands up. I mean, it's the hog man. It wasn't Bigfoot. And
That hog man.
yeah,
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, initially thinking it's a bull, then it's a hog, and the pins being down. I mean, that all makes sense. I mean,
you,
that's what I would think.
yeah. I can't wait for him to come back on. He probably just caught wind that he was. But yeah, I want to know where this is going. I,
Yeah.
you know, I, I,
See, okay, so
yeah.
when he was describing the heat and it's a Texas sighting, I
Yes.
was honestly thinking like how miserable must that be for a creature that has that much hair and I mean I want to ask him the
Yeah.
length of the hair if
Hmm.
the Bigfoot that live in hotter regions have sparser hair,
Right.
shorter hair,
Yep.
to kind of be equipped with the heat and humidity and everything that they must deal with there in Texas.
That's a great question because that's the questions I've been asking too, compared
Yeah,
to the northern regions like in Minnesota. They say, "Oh, it was very thick and very hairy."
yeah,
And here's the thing, though. I mean, sometimes we even hear about that being thick and hairy down in Florida as well. So maybe I don't know if it's so much as to adaptation or acclimation, but it maybe just comes down to individual and genetics too.
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
I mean, because you think things naturally acclimate to their area,
Hmm.
and I just wonder if that's maybe what's happened in this situation. Welcome back. So
I'm back. Can you hear
we got
me?
you vertical this
Yes.
time. You can
Yes, we
flip
hear
your
Okay,
you.
phone if you want.
I'm gonna flip it over, y'all. I'm
Yep,
flipping it over.
there
Y'all
you
bear
go.
with me, man.
Oh,
Yeah, I had my phone uh, charging on the charger, and I think that's what was actually overheating my phone.
oh,
Oh,
I just
oh
didn't want to
wow.
run out of power, and I'm
Yeah.
probably good here. We're good, right?
Yes,
right.
we're all
So,
good. So
so you
go
you
ahead.
left off at 3/10 of a mile now.
I did
Yep.
3/10 of a mile from this thing, and everybody's got to remember this event lasted less than a minute. Um, as many times as I've been back and timed it, and measured it, and all the things that we do for confirmation, um, this whole event lasted 50 to 52 seconds is the number I kept coming up with, and I'm pretty comfortable with that. When I came over the rise on this highway, uh, uh, seeing the black bull and seeing the jungle on the other side of the jungle uh, was a flashing yellow lights. And after this event happened and having went by that was like a sawhorse that like the state or a private company, whatever, uh, puts up whenever they're doing stuff, road work, whatever. I remember seeing the flashing lights on the other side of this jungle, and from where this Bigfoot was on the right hand side of the highway to where that crew was, having been back, it's about 125, 150 yards is a real good estimate. I remember seeing those flashing yellow lights, and then, like I said, you know, thought it was a black bull. Uh, Looked back, thought it was a black hog, and it moved really weird. Looked back, and now it's walking. I thought it was a guy, a big guy, and wondered why he was in an Arctic suit. And so time's closing as you're going down the highway, and when I thought he was in an Arctic suit, then that's when I really took note uh, that this didn't look right. And I remember I looked back up in the hills and back in the trees again. I looked back at this guy, and yeah, I'm probably less than 1,000 yards from him, and that's pretty close. If you go figure out what 1,000 yards is, people, it ain't that far.
Yeah.
When you're seeing something, you don't realize what it is. And so I'm taking note, and I'm looking at him, and I'm closing distance. There's another thing that comes into play here. My foot had come off the gas pedal. I drove a Freightliner, a real nice Freightliner tractor, and but the cruise control had went out on it, and so I was having to foot feet that thing everywhere I went, and I drove 400 or 500 miles a day, and I was home every day. But that was a pain in the butt when you ain't got cruise control, y'all, on an
Yeah.
18-wheeler. It
Oh
was.
my gosh.
But at some point, and I didn't realize it till after this event happened, my foot had come off the gas pedal. So when I did pass this thing, I was probably doing 50, 55 miles an hour, I guess. I'm running at 80,000 pounds loaded with fuel on this 18-wheeler. But um, looking at him, uh, I was taking, now it had my attention, and I'm looking at the highway. Now I'm not even looking in the trees and on the up in the hills. I'm just looking at the highway, looking at him, and I know my head probably looked like an ostrich because I'm like, what the hell is this, right? And your brain's trying to compute this as it's happening, and I'm looking at him, and I'm getting closer, and I'm realizing, this is a big guy. This is big, and I'm looking at him, and like I said, I'm going crazy, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm realizing, and for the last less than probably 25 seconds, over 20 seconds, I now realized what I was looking at. And like I said, Bigfoot wasn't on my radar, y'all, but what I was looking at, uh, this was the boogeyman, and it was real, and I could not believe what I was looking at. This guy was so big, he was so massive. Uh, his arms. I'm getting a good look at him. Okay, before I go any further, because I know everybody wants to know what I saw. Of course they do. I'd want to know.
Yeah,
This
let's hear you describe what
okay.
you're looking at.
9:35 a.m. I'm traveling south. This thing is to the right of the highway, on the west side of the highway, and I'm traveling south. The sun was on to my left. It was up in the east, and there wasn't a lot of traffic on this highway that morning. And it's a Monday morning, 9:35 a.m. There wasn't a lot of traffic at all, and he was lit up. The sun was up. It was a clear morning,
Wow.
and this guy was lit up. And I remember the grass having kind of that lime green color to it. We'd had a lot of rain that year already. We had a storm that came through 2 days earlier. The grass was kind of that lime green color, I guess is a good way to describe it. And this male was jet black, and he popped against that grass, and
Wow.
yeah. So I'm trying to paint a picture for y'all, and I hope I don't mess this up for y'all because it's important. He really popped. I got a really good look at him, and the sun had him lit up. It's like he was in a spotlight, and he was walking. He never ran. He walked, and he walked with a purpose. He walked with an attitude, and I caught him in the open. In hindsight, I know what happened is this work crew that was on the other side of that jungle. I've stood where this Bigfoot was, and through this jungle and where that work crew was, there's no way he could have saw that. He couldn't have saw through 150 yards of jungle. Okay. But when I did, and after this event, when I went by that crew, and there were 3 or 4 guys there, and they were all wearing like the orange vest, right? It was a work crew, whether it was for a private company or the state, I don't know. But it was a white pickup and a trailer, and there was a wood chipper in the back of the trailer. And I've been asked, was the wood chipper, were they using it? I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing the wood chipper and 3 or 4 guys. And so coming over that highway, coming over that little rise down toward that creek area, in hindsight, to me, the only thing that could have happened was its attention was on those workers, that he couldn't see them, but he could probably hear them. And then all of a sudden, here I am coming in behind him. I felt like he was crouched down right on. I mean, he was right next to the pavement. And why he was there, I don't know. That's where he was. He was right next to the pavement. And I think his attention was on those workers, and he was squatted down, he had his back to me, and he heard me come over the rise on that highway. And that boy, I think he tried to lay down. Like I said, he moved 6 or 8 feet, and he stopped. And you know, in hindsight, that was probably a spider crawl. And I think he got down, he moved 6 or 8 feet, and he realized, he hears me coming. He realized the grass ain't tall enough, and he got up and he started walking. And mind you, I'm looking up in the hills and the trees, and I'm looking for tornado damage. But I did see him make that move and stop. And then that's when I thought it was a black hog, and then looked up in the hills and trees. And next time I looked, he was walking. And that's when I thought it was a guy, you know, a big guy. And I look back up in the hills and trees again. I'm looking back, and I'm realizing, you know, something ain't right.
Yeah.
Well, at some point during all of this trees and hills and looking for tornado damage, he stepped over a fence. He stepped over a privacy fence, you know, and those things are 3.5, 4 foot tall. And I never saw that, but he did, because from the highway where he was at, having been back, that's about 75 yards. He was heading for a tree line. It was about 75 yards to that tree line. And he was just on a dead walk with an attitude. He was slightly hunched at the shoulders, like we've all heard about. His arms were as big as my chest, y'all. This guy was massive. He was big.
Yeah.
He was big, Abe.
So
he was massive.
You said he had black hair, and the sun was glistening on him. So the black was like a true black, because sometimes in the sun, a black can look more red or brown or blue. So this was like a real black.
It was jet black. It wasn't a dark chocolate, you know. And of course, we hear all the reports about all the different colors, and we get that. Humans the same way. No, he was jet black. And I've been asked. I was asked, you know, was it a shiny black? You know, was it a chalky black or whatever? And no, it was just jet black against that lime green grass.
Yeah.
And so there was no mistake. And that was from head to grass. I never did see his feet. When I went back to this location after I saw this thing, I went back a month later, and the grass was, you know, just above my knee. And I never saw this thing's feet. And I know whenever they're walking and they kick back, and we've all seen the videos and the breakdowns of it, you know, they have almost this 90-degree kickback when they walk, but I never saw the feet. And if the feet were visible, my brain did not register it. Okay.
Yeah.
His arms, before we get to this body, when you're in a tractor trailer and sitting behind the steering wheel on an 18-wheeler, your line of sight, you're about 9 feet off of the highway. Okay. Your line of sight is about 9 feet off of the highway. And then looking out the passenger side of my tractor trailer, and eventually out the passenger door window, I'm real confident this guy was 7.5, 8 feet tall, for sure, not less. And I'll stand by that. And then 7.5, 8 foot tall. He was jet black. And then I estimate him, and I have a reason for this, I estimate him at 900 to 1,000 pounds. Hey, Gwendolyn, everybody listening, he was huge. And the reason I go with these numbers is in the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film, okay? When Roger Patterson, you know, kind of stumbled and fell and finally hit his knees in the sandbar on the other side of the creek, and he got that money shot of Patty walking across that sandbar out there. Peter Byrne was out there within just a couple of days, and he did what's called the grayscale overlay. And Gwendolyn, I sent you pictures of the grayscale overlay. Can you see those?
Yep.
Okay.
So you have those in chronological order.
Okay.
So
I'm getting to the reason why I come up with the numbers on how big this thing was in 2019. I'm sorry.
you're fine.
I get real excited when I talk about it, man. It's
You're talking
amazing.
about the Patty film, right?
I am talking about the Patterson Gimlin film, and Peter Byrne did the grayscale overlay. Can you see those?
We're gonna bring it up here, and you're gonna make sure I
Yes.
got the right one here.
Okay.
That one. Is that the one
No,
you're
not
talking
that
about?
one. No, that's Patty's stature, and we all know that
Yeah.
famous frame 352 when she does the look back. You got a man named Hoskins.
Al Hodgkins.
Yes. And
This isn't it. I don't think no.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
No, that's okay. I'm
There,
sorry.
there is green in the picture, Gwendolyn. There's two pictures.
Okay. This
There's
isn't it,
two of them.
right?
Yes, ma'am. That's one of them. Can you blow that up?
There you
Okay,
go.
that's a really good one, and everybody needs to look at this. Okay, everybody needs to look at this. I don't know how many people have seen the grayscale overlay. A lot of people have. And Dr. Jeff Meldrum stood by these numbers that Peter Byrne did. And Hoskins was a man of known height. He was around 6 foot tall. And he did an overlay where Roger Patterson was on his knees in the sandbar and filming this, Patty's trackway and known logs that were there and trees that were there of known distances. They were able to mathematically measure and come up with 87 and a half inches. That's 7 foot 3.5 for Patty. And then, and you can see her in the grayscale there with Hoskins. It's a man about 6 foot tall. That looks about right, don't it? That does look about right. And then Dr. Meldrum, and I remember him talking about the measurements that they were able to calculate on how thick Patty was and how tall she was and how wide her shoulders were. You know, everything was by mathematics, trying to get the numbers on her. And they ended up with an estimate of 700 to 800 pounds on a 7 foot 3.5 foot species. That's Patty. And Patty's real. For anybody that wants to debunk that, give me a call. Find me on Facebook. We'll talk about it. Patty's real, y'all. Patty's real. Patty's real. If you want to know what Bigfoot looks like, look at Patty. She's real. Isaac Tian, he did a breakdown on her. He did an AI system, and Isaac Tian, if what Isaac Tian did had Dr. Jeff Meldrum and Bill Munns and everybody else that has seen the Isaac Tian footage, you're looking at Patty. You can see her hamstrings, you can see her calves, you can see her breasts, you can see her back muscles, her shoulder muscles, you can see her butt.
Oh yeah.
You can see it all. We've all seen it. And man, that was $1 million moment when Isaac Tian did that. And so Dr. Jeff Meldrum stood behind these numbers, and I do too, and I always will. So from my line of sight, you know, what I saw, he was bigger than Patty. He was 7.5, 8 feet tall, 8 foot tall, 900 to 1,000 pounds, because this thing was bigger than Patty. And I'm willing to bet he outweighed her by 150, 200 pounds. These are my numbers of what I saw. That's exactly how I do it, Gwendolyn.
I do have some questions because
okay, please.
You saw this thing for roughly a minute.
I did.
So as you're coming up on this and you realize that you're looking at a Bigfoot, did you see its face? Did you brake at all or slow down to try to? You just kept driving.
I did. You know, when my brain registered, you know, I kind of told the story up to the point that my brain registered that what I was looking at, and I knew what I was looking at for at least 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I got a really good look at this, and it was a male. And I say that with confidence because it gave off the complete aura as a male. Not
Yeah.
once in 7 years have I ever thought, was it a female? No, no. This guy was massive. This thing was huge,
Yeah.
and
I mean, bigger than Patty would have to be huge. So you didn't see its face. So was it turned around when you finally started comprehending what you were looking at?
okay. So I want everybody to realize I'm traveling south, and this Bigfoot was to the west of the highway, and it was walking west,
Okay.
and I'm traveling south. So as I'm coming up on it, and my brain registers what I'm looking at its right profile. Okay,
Okay.
that's why I said its arms were as big as my chest. They were massive, and the head was big, and I could see, and I remember because Bigfoot wasn't on my radar, but I remember I could see this ash gray skin.
Okay.
Okay, and I thought to myself, I said, in my brain, it was just like it's a small face that didn't look right. Well, in hindsight, because the rest of the face was covered in hair, and I could see some ash gray skin. It wasn't a light gray and it wasn't a dark gray. It was just an ash gray, and I seen the profile. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'm
that's
kind of
that.
getting a picture in my head now what you were looking at.
Yes, I'm looking at the right profile of this guy, and you know, and your brain's trying to register because of the size of him and the way he was walking. The whole thing, your brain is just going crazy. And a lot of people that see these things, they'll tell you, man, it just, how can you, what is this? And you know what it is. And then,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at him, and from his back to his chest, from his back to his chest, the 2.5 feet thick,
Wow.
massive. This
That's
guy,
huge.
and remember, with this 2.5 feet thick, this thing had like this hunch to it from like the mid back up, and it wasn't a major hunch, but it was a hunch. And he's walking, and his arms are out here, and they're as big as my chest, and he's pissed. He's pissed. He got caught in the open, and he was pissed. He was heading for this tree line 75 yards away. And then as he's walking toward the tree line and I'm coming, I've had a lot of people say there's no way you could have saw it for 20 seconds going, down the highway. No, you got to remember it's walking and I'm coming, and this turnaround, however you want to say it or try to describe it, I got a real good look at his back. I mean, I got a real good look. I got a good look at his profile. And I remember while it was walking, your brain takes pictures. I can't explain that because you're in shock and awe. So there's certain little things you remember, things that anybody else you might notice if you're in a calm state. And when you see one, it's like snapshots of what you're seeing. Okay. But I do remember in the profile on probably its right leg, and I'm pretty sure of that, as it stepped on one particular step, the thigh area had this shake to it, like a quiver. Okay. And I guess maybe it's the way it stepped. But if a horse, if you look at a horse and a horse is just standing there and all of a sudden you can see the muscles quiver on a horse, it was kind of that effect. And I saw this at that distance. It was a shake. It had to be on one of the steps, on maybe what it stepped on, how it stepped. I don't know. But I remember that. It's one of those snapshots. And then it's huge. Its legs were bigger than its arms, and its arms were huge. And as I'm coming around and I'm getting this $1 million look, y'all, I got what people call the $1 million look. As I'm coming around, I got a really, really, really good look at his back, and the sunlight has him lit up, and he's heading for the tree line, and he's got this hunch, and the muscles, they're the same as ours. Now, they're like, if you think about a bodybuilder, they have the same musculature as we do, 100%, only bigger, exaggerated.
Yeah.
And his trap muscles from his out here at his shoulders, for us, like where our middle of our ears are, this thing, his shoulders were every bit of 4 foot across.
Mm.
And we've all heard that number so much. Some people say these things are 5, 6 foot at the shoulders. I couldn't imagine. This
Yeah.
one was every bit of 4 foot at the shoulders. And out here where his shoulders are, up to the back of his head, about where the middle of our ears would be, were these traps. And they weren't blocky. They were just in this angular. Okay. As I'm coming around, I'm looking at the back of his head from the profile. His head was big, and his hair on his head was pretty long, I guess. And it was all jacked up. And then the rest of the hair on his body was probably an inch and a half long. He had like really short hair. and I think of, in this research over the years, I look at gorillas a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the hair on a gorilla, that hair looks like it's about an inch long, and this thing hair might have been a little longer, I guess.
Yeah.
Inch and a half.
Yeah.
And I remember go ahead.
I was going to ask that because when you cut out and you had to come back in, you had mentioned like the heat and everything else, and Sherry mentioned feeling bad for like a Bigfoot that's covered in hair. It's like a giant sweater, and we were wondering about how long the hair was. So you said a little over an inch long. It wasn't sparse. It didn't look sparse at all.
No. And no, I mean, he had hair all over from head to grass. I never saw the feet. Like on his forearms, and it was one of those pictures that your mind takes. Mm-hmm. I remember his forearms looked really weird, big. And in hindsight and in research, you hear so many testimonies of people talking about this hair that hangs off of the arm. Okay. Yeah. And he had big arms. All of his arm was big. But his forearms looked like weird big. And I guess that may have been from the hair on them, so many witness testimonies describe it, because they had that Popeye the Sailor Man effect. His forearms looked really, really big, and that could have been hair. I don't know. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then his arms, they were huge, and people have asked me, was his arms, were they all the way to his knees? And I'm like, I don't know. He probably had long arms, and I've said this before because I truly believe what I witnessed him going 6 to 8 feet from left to right. He did a spider crawl trying to hide from me. He could hear me coming, and he got down, and the grass wasn't tall enough.
I've heard about that spider crawl before, people describing that, and it's very interesting because, I mean, it is such a big, massive creature being able to get down low like that and basically like spider crawl. And actually, let me see if you actually provided an example of that. Let me see if I can find that, because I think that's pretty good to show right now.
A lot of people haven't heard about that. A lot of people have, and this is a really good illustration of it.
Yeah,
what they do. It takes power. It takes something of musculature to pull this off. And they do it, and they do it. They do it. Witnesses right there. This is the position they get in, and they move around in it. And most people think, a lot of researchers believe that they get down like this, and they try to hide. They move around. They stay low to the ground. And then some witnesses have actually seen these things in a full run. And some witnesses said these things move at cheetah speed. And I'm like,
in the spider crawl?
In the spider crawl, they're hitting all fours. They're running quadrupedally. There's a story. I remember this one where a father and a son were either deer hunting or elk hunting, and they were in Colorado. And there was this smaller deer out in this meadow, out of the tree line, and of course they're not going to shoot it. But this testimony said that this deer all of a sudden bolted for the tree line, and 50 yards behind it came this thing hitting like a greyhound, and that deer had a 50-yard head start, and it caught it before it hit the tree line. And they said, it did whatever it did, slammed it, broke it in half, whatever they do, break its legs, whatever. And this thing picked it up and went up on 2 legs, and it picked up the deer and it headed right into the tree line. And it caught a deer that had a 50-yard head start on it. Makes you wonder, how fast are they? How fast are they? And
It's interesting because you don't
it,
hear that a lot.
you don't.
But you do hear about them doing that spider crawl, and it
Yes,
kind
ma'am.
of, like in my head, I want to make this comparison between, you know, people who are able to do backflips and then people that can't. Like maybe it's
Exactly.
not. And Abe, you look like you want to say something.
Well, there's been reports where they have jumped up with a car going 40 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So there have been reports where they have jumped up with a car going 40 miles per hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I could get that. I have a report out of East Texas in the Piney Woods, um, of this thing, and I actually, Gwendolyn, when we were in Kentucky, and I talked to Dr. Maria Mayer at that VIP dinner.
Hmm.
Well, it was actually the next day when me and you were actually talking to her.
Yeah.
If you remember this, I was asking her, I was telling her this story out of East Texas from a witness. I want to get a video testimony on this thing when I go in October. Um, there was a hunting group, and they were part of this hunting club that shared 10,000 acres with two other hunting clubs. And so what they had was a 4,000 acre swath, and that's a lot of land, y'all.
Yeah.
People that know what 4,000 acres is, that's a lot. And so
Massive.
Grandpa Wayne in this hunting group, this is an older man. He grew up in the piney woods of East Texas, and that's a whole different breed of people, y'all. Them people don't play out there. No, they don't. And they're great people, good, honest people, man. But you don't want to piss them off. So Grandpa Wayne was part of this hunting club, and where everybody else would go and take their areas and their tree stands and their blinds and everything that they did, Grandpa Wayne would go a little further into this 4,000 acres down into the Sabine River bottoms, okay, in Panola County, Texas. The Sabine River is right there. The Sabine River separates Texas from Louisiana, and I'm going down in there in October. I told you about this, Gwendolyn.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
going.
awesome.
I'm getting
That's
guided
awesome.
down. I've got a couple of other researchers that want to go, maybe three. And
That's so cool.
yes, can't wait. And we're going in on foot. I was asked if I'm going in on we're canoeing it, and a lot of people do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. He's taking me down, and we're going down in there, and we're going to look for Bigfoot, man. That's
That's
what I
so
do.
cool.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So Grandpa Wayne gets in his tree stand, and you go through this like four-wheeler little trail, excuse me, and you come to a gate, and you open this gate and you shut it behind you. It's a rule. There's no lock on it or nothing. It's just something with the hunting club that they do. And yeah, so if anybody else, and nobody ever really did, go into Grandpa Wayne's area, you had to shut that gate behind you, get your butt chewed out. Anyway, Grandpa Wayne went into his area, and he was down there in that deep part of the Sabine River bottoms in this 4,000 acres, and he was up in his tree stand, and he was sitting on a known hog trail, and he was about 100 yards from where the brush broke out on this hog trail. And over the years, Grandpa Wayne, he would always hunt for the 200-300 pound hogs, and then every year he would get the trophy bucks that would use that same game trail. So he's hog hunting, and he's setting up on, and he's out there by himself. He's out of season, and he's out there and he's hog hunting, and he's looking for one of these 200 or 300 pound hogs. And up in this tree stand to the right, about 50 yards, and I described this to Dr. Maria Mayer, and it raised an eyebrow on her too. What a wonderful lady. What a wonderful lady. Grandpa Wayne noticed to the right of this hog trail by this big tree and all the underbrush that was around this tree area, he noticed black hair in the brush. And he's got like a 308 or a 30-06, whatever. I can't remember what gun. We'll find out. Anyway, and he raises the scope up, and he's looking at this black hair through his scope, and it would just move around a little bit. He couldn't really tell what it was. And according to Grandpa Wayne, he thought it was a black bear that maybe came down from Arkansas or Louisiana, because they will come into East Texas, and they're not in big numbers, but they will. So he thought it was a black bear. And his attention went back to the hog trail, and eventually all these hogs bust out. A bunch of them bust out on this trail. And he knew they would, they used this trail. And according to Grandpa Wayne, this thing, it lowered. And then in 3 leaps, this thing covered about 50 yards. And you got to imagine that. Yeah. And so what you're looking at, breaking that down, you're looking at 16, 17 yards per leap. And Grandpa Wayne described this like a bullfrog. Its arms out and its legs would come up and tuck under its body before impact. And it did 3 leaps in just under 2 seconds, covered almost 50 yards. And in the 3rd bound, just before it hit this group of hogs on this game trail, they all kind of got jacked up and they all kind of quivered. Some of them fell, whatever. And this Bigfoot landed in the middle of these hogs. And according to Grandpa Wayne, it picked up 2 different, approximately 300-pound hogs and slammed each one of them against the tree. And then it reached down, and Grandpa Wayne's watching this, okay? And it reaches down and it grabs each one of these hogs after it slammed it against the tree, and it picks them up by the hind legs, and it starts walking off away from Grandpa Wayne back into the woods, back into the way all the hogs came out. And it's walking off with them like it's carrying, like you and me would carry a pair of suitcases.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Yes. And Grandpa Wayne's up in this tree stand. Yeah, I can't wait to witness this, get this story on video. And then this thing stops, and he described it as 8 foot tall, jet black. He said that it stopped as it was going into the woods, and it turned at the waist and turned back and looked at Grandpa Wayne, and he's got his scope up, and he said that thing looked at him right through the scope. He said right into my eyes and into my soul. And he said this thing turned around and then continued on into the woods. And Grandpa Wayne came out of that tree stand. This man raised in the piney woods. He came out of that tree stand, never went back for it. He left those piney woods, and that man, till the day he died just a couple of years ago, because this is a secondhand story with other witnesses that heard this story. So I can't wait to video this. He never went back in the woods again. Never.
Wow.
Oh,
It scared that man so bad. This guy was ex-military, and it scared that man so bad when this thing looked into his soul. He said through his scope, it knew that Grandpa Wayne was up in that tree stand the whole time, y'all.
That's
It's an amazing story. When I get that,
wild.
that is wild. And 3 leaps at 50 yards. That's inhumane.
That's one
really
story
wild.
out of East Texas. Cannot wait for October to get
And
here.
Yeah, I was going to say, to give a reference, you actually provided a picture, and I don't know if anybody's squeamish, but this is, all part of hog hunting. But you actually did provide pictures of kind of the size.
Look at the size of these things. There's 2 pictures of it. I may have only sent you that one. And then there's another one with a group of hogs.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that one.
You look at these hogs, and these things run rampant in Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas. These things are going crazy.
Yeah.
You run into a group of those, you're in trouble, people.
Yeah. Oh, they'll kill you. Even one. Even one.
Even one.
Enough.
They will tree you.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a 200 pound.
Oh, there it is.
Look at this. That's in one day's hunt, y'all. One day's hunt here in Texas. Really not far from where I'm at, less than an hour. Okay. That's incredible how many there are. That's one day's hunt. Now, when I go into the woods, and I do it every time, without fail, I don't go into the woods, and I'm armed. Yeah. I'm armed. I'm always armed. Because here in Texas, not only the hogs and what you can run into, if you run into a group of hogs, and you ain't got a tree to get up, They may never find you. And people have talked about it. You know, they eat the clothes, they'll eat your teeth. They'll never. People aren't going to find you if there's enough hogs.
Yeah.
And so I always stay close to trees. Anytime I'm going down trail and I'm up in the woods, I'm always close to trees, y'all. Because if they bust out, you better be ready. Because if you get caught in the open, you're in trouble. And so, um,
Well,
so I am always armed. I am.
yeah.
I do.
Oh, you have to
I
be.
do. I do. Anytime I go in the woods, I've got my Smith and Wesson 44 Magnum
Yeah.
Red Hawk on my hip with slugs. I carry a 12 gauge pump shotgun with Defender rounds. And those Defender rounds, that's a rifle slug with 3 pellets. That will drop an elephant at close range. Okay.
Jeez.
I do this mainly because what I saw in 2019, if things go wrong, I ain't the only one that's going to bleed that day. I may be dead, but I ain't the only one going to bleed. And I pray to God that never happens. I don't go out and hunt for them. I don't. But, life and death is life and death when you're out in the middle of the woods. And you know this, Gwendolyn, you've known it for a long time. I go solo whenever I go looking for these things. And it's scary. When you see what you see, it's scary to get out in them woods. And
personally, I'd be more afraid of the hogs than the Bigfoot.
That's why I carry. I am more afraid of the hogs. And out here in Texas, the mountain lions. We got mountain lions everywhere. And that's my biggest fear is the mountain lions and the hogs. I'm not out there to hunt Bigfoot. I really ain't. But and I'm not. And I pray to God it never comes to that ever. But I've told people over the years, they're like, man, what drives you, dude, to do what you do? You're crazy. And for me, I want to see them face on.
Yeah.
I want to see what everybody's talking about.
Yep.
I got the right profile of this guy, and I want to see him. I want to see him face on. That's awesome. That's one of my drives. I want to see him again. I want to see him again a lot. Because when you see one of these things, I mean, it's not only magnificent, especially one the size of what I saw. They're tremendous and they're intimidating. When you see that, you watch them walk off, and you watch all the muscles moving. We're going to get back to that. I'm sorry. I get amped up, y'all.
Well, you're okay. I know we've went past the 1 hour mark, and you have provided some really great pictures of some footprints that you've been able to get pictures of. So I want to go over those before. Okay. So here's one, and we're just going to move along here. So, go ahead and tell me about this one.
This is the first track that I found. I saw this thing 7 years ago on May 20th. I just had my 7-year anniversary. This was the first track I found 2 years into research. This track is almost 15 inches long. And if you zoom that out, Gwendolyn, and bring it in close, you can see where the weight of this thing pressed the gravel and stuff out to the side. And what you're seeing down the middle, it had rained there. A day or two earlier. This was kind of a low spot in a padded area on a work site. The mud has spackled up under the heat because this particular day it was over 100 degrees. Wow. So as the water's drying, the mud just spackles up and curls up like it did.
Yeah.
But you can if you pull that in even closer, you can see the toes. You can see where it had stepped. You can see where it pressed the rock and the gravel out just under the pure weight of this almost 15-inch track. My boot right there is 12 inches on the sole exactly from heel to toe. That's a massive print. That was the first one I found, and that was less than 2 hours from where I live in an area where I was getting wood knocks. And out in that area, there was a documented case. Everything and everywhere I go, I go to areas, of course, where there's documented sightings. And you can go on the BFRO website, and I can look around here, and I do. Most of my research is within 2 hours of where I live here in San Angelo. And I'm just right here in the heart of Texas, basically. And so that was my first track. And that was a major track. I about had a heart attack when I came up on it. And there were several others, but this area with this one particular good left foot hit, it was kind of a low area on this work pad. It had cut through this work pad area where I used to deliver fuel.
Wow.
Where I was getting tree knocks off in the distance. That's why I started. And I did a lot of research out there. I did find another track, a smaller one, less than 15. That one. That's less than 15 miles away from the big one you just showed. This is out near Brady. It's between Brady. That's another location. Okay. And so this one here, this is about a 9.5 to 10-inch track. Okay. And mind you, I'm working and I'm finding these things. And when I get these moments to get out of my tractor and jump off in the woods, away I go. And there were several of these tracks, but that was the one good one. Like where rain had washed up like that soft soil. And then right in front of that and behind it, and actually where my other foot is, I'm standing in grass. This was right at the edge of the grass that went on in. And that was the picture I got. So you got two individuals 15 miles or less apart from each other. And in 5 years of my research, been doing it for 7, but in 5 years, I have found 6 different tracks sizes, which is 6 different individuals, and they always run in pairs.
Yeah.
They always run in pairs, and I always go to locations near water. This one is west of where I live. I have another researcher, Mike. That is the best track I've ever found. Y'all look at it. And I've been chewed out for not casting that. I went out on a Sunday morning on a whim, just to go look for tracks, right? I didn't have my backpack with me, didn't have my casting material, didn't have water.
I've been there.
Me.
I've been there.
Yes, ma'am. I am. I'm not your best researcher, but I do know where to go find these things, or at least try. And this one, there's another one just like it, and you got my boot next to it. This is about 11.5-inch track. And then a lot of people say, well, that looks like a footprint. That's not a human print. A human print. It is the heel. Look at the heel. Look at the print. That's a flat-footed creature, y'all. These animals do not have an arch. Dr. Meldrum said that it's a evolutionary thing with these, and he's examined so many. A human track, you're going to have the toes. And you're going to have a little pad behind the toes, and it's going to come down kind of like a little question mark to a little puny little heel that humans leave. If you take off your shoes and step in dirt, it don't look nothing like this. This is a Bigfoot track. And this is 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles from a documented sighting off the BFRO. That's what sent me out there.
So this ground looks still pretty wet, pretty
okay,
yeah.
sister.
So was this the only track that was with
no ma'am and so there's a series of tracks, and there's another individual. This one's 11.5 foot. The individual that was with it is about 13.5-inch track, and then this foot still has water in it. If you can bring that up, it still has water in it. That's a right foot. The left foot is actually underwater. This is on the edge where the lake is, on a reservoir.
There's looks like a dog print right above it too.
And it actually is dog because I do animal tracks too, just to see what's in correlation with these prints. And that's actually a dog. I thought it might be coyote. It's not.
Yeah,
it's actually dog. It's probably just a feral dog. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They run around like little gangs out here too, kind of like them hogs. You got to be careful.
So what was in this area? Was there water nearby?
It's right on the edge of a reservoir.
Okay.
The left foot is actually underwater.
Right.
Then you got this one, then the next step, and the next one, and the next one. Hold up. This is the 13.5-inch track.
Sorry.
That's okay. This track accompanied the 11.5 that you just showed.
Okay.
This is at the reservoir. Out here at this reservoir, and people that know this, there's another researcher that knows this, Mike Smith. the soil and the way it's made up with clay and sand and all of that, you'll get parts of it here where you can actually leave a print, and the very next step, it's like you're stepping on concrete.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where these tracks led, and these tracks were leading kind of southwest from where I found this. And excuse me, they went right up into this concrete stuff after just a couple of steps, because there's more that go with this guy, this 13 and a half inch. I got a couple of more 13 and a half inch. You can see the hill. Can you see that?
Down here.
Okay. My boat is 12 inches long. I didn't have my stuff with me when I found these. And
looks like it
scared
slid a little and pushed the ground out that way.
No, you're doing good, sister. You're doing good. You're putting them together. Just like I said, within less than 2 hours of where I live is where I'm finding this stuff. And, you know, we all, as researchers, we learn from the shoulders of those before us and those around us. There, that's the 13 and a half incher.
Let me
with
go
this
back.
step. Yep, that step followed this one. So you can already see where the consistency of the substrate changes. You get a big mash in here. The very next step was the one you just showed. And the very next step, you can just see where like little twigs and sticks and that are broken. You can't really see a print. That was with both. That's just what's around this reservoir. Pretty impressive, isn't it? It's pretty impressive. Scared the crap out of me when I came across them, because that one was underwater and the other one had water in it. And I was like, were they here like 30 seconds ago, 30 minutes ago, 3 hours ago? It'll scare you when you're out in the woods by yourself. And where I was on this reservoir, people don't go there, and people sure don't get out barefooted to go take a whiz off a boat. I promise you. Pretty impressive. Like I said, mile and a half, less than probably 2 miles. Okay. This tree break from those tracks you just showed, this is about a mile from those. If you can zoom that tree break in and note all the other trees around this tree break are not damaged. This is one all by itself. This is almost at the 6 foot level. It's a 2.5, 3 inch little tree growed up out here. And this thing was snapped right off. And as we all know, we're all guessing why. You know, why do they do that? And why are they pointing in certain directions? And on another podcast I didn't get to go further in this story, but I want to do it here. This tree, when I came across it, it stood out. It's only one all by itself. Where the tip of this tree is pointing, this is about a 15-foot tree, okay? So you still got another 7 or 8 feet above the break, 8 feet, 9 feet above the break. Where this tree is pointing, it points toward this huge wall of briars, okay? And vines and trees right near this creek area, where the top of this is pointing to, and it's pointing west toward this creek. So I'm looking at this, and probably 30, 35 yards out at this wall of briars and vines and trees on this side of the creek, there was like this opening that this was actually like in line with. And this opening is probably 3.5 foot tall, maybe 2.5 feet wide. It wasn't perfectly round, but it was an opening into this stuff. Mind you of what the game go into, the deer and whatnot. Well, that's exactly where this was pointing. The tip of this tree, it's pointing right into this opening. So I kind of start closing the distance to it, and I stopped. I was, halfway there, 15, 20 yards from the opening, and I'm standing there and I'm videoing, because I video everything. I document everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm videoing, and I need to let y'all know this, okay? Because in that opening, it went in probably, 4, maybe 5 feet, and it kind of peeled off to the right in there. It was like a tunnel. It was really weird to see it. And from that opening, I heard a fawn, like a little deer, and they make a sound, this little whang sound. It's a distinct sound that baby deer make. And it sounded like a fawn, but it didn't sound like a fawn made it. It sounded like somebody was imitating that sound. And I stood there and I'm videoing and I'm looking and I'm looking. And then just literally a few seconds later, I got that sound again, and it was even more definite. And it sounded like something was trying to make the sound of a fawn. Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
felt like I felt like I was being lured in. And
Interesting.
and from this area right here, from where this is, and not even a mile away on the other side of the creek, where I had went, I got because you'll get those tree knocks, or you think you do. You'll hear them in the distance. Sometimes you're not even sure, right? But not even a mile from this tree break, about 2 months later, I'm on the other side of the creek investigating up in there, and I was about 3/4 of a mile in. And I've talked to Charlie Raymond with Kentucky Bigfoot, and I've talked to Daryl Denton, the Tennessee Bigfoot man. And great guys, great researchers. They've been doing it for decades. And I told them about this. I didn't get a tree knock. I got a tree whack. And there's a difference. And
Yeah.
this tree whack, it's different from tree knocks. And it was no closer than 100 yards, somewhere between 100, 150, I'm guessing, up in the woods, out where people ain't. And this tree whack was telling me, that's it. Don't come any further, buddy. And I promise you, that tree whack froze me. And I turned around and I never turned my back to it, but I worked my way back to my truck. I was done. I heeded the warning. They will warn you. They will let you know when you're getting too close, or for whatever reason, or they got young ones around or not.
Yeah.
That tree whack was about a mile from that tree break.
Interesting.
Yes, and that tree break and the other steps are all literally is the way the lake comes around. They're about 1.5 to 2 miles from this documented sighting that you can find on the BFRO. That's why I go there, looking for Bigfoot. Y'all know it. That's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So that's what we do. We try to make that haystack a little smaller before we start looking for the needles, right?
Yeah.
And most of the time, hold that picture, Gwen, because this is important. And you can blow it up a little bit. But that's what we do. And most of the time when we go out, and we all know it, you're coming out with a goose egg, and that's okay. Half the adventure's getting in the woods, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
100%.
for me, going in solo, as long as I got my 44 on my hip, my shotgun in my hand, I'm cool. I got confidence, man, and I'm going. This, where I live here in Central Texas, we're within the Edwards Plateau water system, okay? And then you can see that we got 4 major water sheds within the Edwards Plateau, and most of this stuff is underground, y'all.
Oh,
Y'all
interesting.
remember that? A lot of this is underground aquifers. Hundreds of known cave systems that are unexplored, but LIDAR, we know they're there. A lot of them are ancient lava tubes and stuff, and I'm a firm believer these things go underground. And I say that because what I saw that day was a living, breathing creature, and he was huge. And come wintertime here in Central Texas, I'm like, holy crap, how can these things be out in winter? I couldn't imagine going up to Minnesota where Abe is, or where you're at in Ohio, or go to Alaska or Canada.
It just snowed here yesterday. No.
Oh, no way.
No way. You better be lying, Abe.
I'm kidding.
I was going to say, it's like you got worse weather than me, but wow.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, man, it was 110 here today, buddy. And my truck is actually, where's my thermometer? I can't even see it. Holy crap. No, I don't care. We're probably still at 108 degrees, 107.
Nice.
Snowed in Minnesota. Abe, you better cut that out, buddy.
I'm just gullible. I just believe Abe.
And so, and I am a firm believer they do go underground, and a lot of researchers, I mean, it's common sense, y'all. People are like, why don't we see them all the time? Well, they're underground most of the time. Yeah. They'll come out and they'll hunt and they'll move around and they'll migrate. How far they migrate, I don't know. And, for every documented sighting, there's probably 8 or 10 more
Yeah.
that
So
are
do you guys?
undocumented.
I was just wondering because I know in sometimes in different areas they can have different sorts of uh, hours of sightings. So, are most of
Yep.
your sightings that you are finding in Texas at night or during the day?
During the day,
During
sister.
the day.
I don't go out at night. I
Well,
don't go out at night.
well, I mean,
And I'm
not just
solo. Yes, I
your
got you.
yeah, not just yours, but others that you're getting in your area. Are
Others.
they?
One of them was a night. He didn't get a visual. He was getting a deep guttural growl. He was in an
Mm,
RV at a hunting camp
no,
with
wow.
with a cousin and some of their friends. This was in 2000 and give me a second, 2021. This happened in 2021 at a deer camp north of Coleman, Texas. I told you I was taking fuel in 2019 down to Coleman. It's Lake Coleman is uh, north of Coleman, Texas, probably about 10 miles, maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
looking at looking at Google Earth, and this deer camp is between Coleman and Lake Coleman. And this deer camp, it, it's a trying to think of the word. It's a an established deer camp,
Okay.
and it's got an old RV on it, an old bumper pull RV. And this guy Jonas, he's a friend of mine now. Jonas was out there with his cousin and several other hunters during deer hunting season, and they had been out hunting and all of that. And Jonas said he was tired, said he was wore out. It was already at night. And they'd had a couple of beers out at this fire pit out in front of this RV, this bumper pull, and he said that he was just dog tired. And he told the rest of the guys, he's like, look, y'all do this as long as you want, man. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go in. I'm laying down. Right. So he goes into this RV and he lays down on the bed and he's got this little dog of his. And it's a badass little dog, y'all. I love that little dog. Uh, but him and his little dog, they lay down on the bed in this old RV. It's an older one. And the windows are like rectangular. Okay. And they're up at the top near the ceiling. If you've ever been in one of these old RVs, that's what they are. That's your windows. They're all up at the top. And so Jonas is in there and he's laying down with his little dog and trying to go to sleep. And he starts getting this growl. And he said that growl was coming like right out of that window. Like this thing
Wow.
was right outside of that window up there. And he said it scared the crap out of him. He said his little dog started shaking and going crazy. And Jonas said this went on for probably close to an hour.
Oh my
And he said,
gosh.
yes. And he said it would growl and he could hear it breathing and it would stop. And he said his adrenaline was so pumped up. And then after a while, and it hadn't done it in a while, he said, I guess my adrenaline dropped. And he said, and I went to sleep.
Yeah.
I
Energy
crashed and
dump.
burned.
Yep.
He was already tired. And
Yeah.
he said the next morning he was asking the other guys about it. And he said, nah, man, we heard like knocking out in the woods and all kinds of sounds and all that going on out there. And we didn't know. And Jonas said that he walked around the backside of that RV. And he said, Matt, he said, from where I was standing to where that window is up there, he said, it's about 9 foot. And then here's the deal with this. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Where that happened to Jonas, as the crow flies, is about 10 miles from my sighting in 2019. It's happened in 2021. And there's other reports that come out of that area. That's Coleman County, Texas. And there's several other reports that are going on out there. And so pretty cool area. It kind of gives me well, not only me, I'm just saying that it gives credence to what I saw. I don't need confirmation. I know what I saw.
Right.
But for those that are listening, it does give credence to the reports that are coming out of there.
Some validity, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some validity. Thank you. There's the word I'm looking for. It does give validity to it. And, it's crazy because when I described this thing I saw in 2019, and he was massive, I said 900 to 1,000 pounds, and I gave you the reasons why. He was big. Looking at him and looking at his back, like I said, he was every bit of 4 foot wide, every bit of that. Um, when is his, with these bodybuilders, and I've described this thing as Arnold Schwarzenegger times 3 on steroids, but like a bodybuilder, it'll come down and taper down to a narrow waist or whatever. Not this guy. This guy, his shoulders, like his armpits coming down, they didn't taper down real sharp, man. It came down to a really thick waist. And then his butt, I've said it, because you could see his spine, you could see his butt crack, and this guy's walking away from him. And his butt, and this is the way I describe it, and I always try to paint a picture for people. If you can imagine 2 horses' butt pressed next to each other, this boy had some back, y'all. He had a big butt. This boy had some back.
Bigfoot
he was
got
big.
back.
Bigfoot got back, and he was jet black, and you just had to see it, and you could see the muscles moving. I couldn't see all the little detail muscles and all that, of course not, but you could see the big ones. You could see it in his shoulders. You could see his arms swinging, and I didn't see fingers or none of that. Maybe he's walking with a fist. I don't know. My brain didn't take a picture of that.
Right.
We were talking about that earlier, and it just people got to realize, man, when you see something like this, it jacks your brain up real quick, and your brain's trying to compute what you're looking at. Yeah, I knew what I was looking at. I mean, for whatever reason, I knew I was looking at a Bigfoot. It wasn't anything else, even though that wasn't on my radar. Okay,
right? Yeah,
that makes sense. And
I think a lot of people know what Bigfoot is. They just don't know that. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people don't even. They're like, "Oh, there's more than one." And I'm like, "Yeah, there's more than one." They know about Bigfoot, but it's not like you said. It's not on their radar. But if they ever see one, they could go 2 ways. They could become passionate about it and dive into it like you did, or they could become totally fearful and stay out of the woods for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. And, I talked to another guy, another researcher. I did a podcast with him, and we were talking, we got on that subject for a minute about, a lot of people talk about that they have this event happen in their lives, like I did, and like a lot of people have. And the question that we were discussing was, a lot of people say, it was traumatic. I was in my tractor trailer, okay? So I was relatively safe, and I'm moving down the highway, and it scared the crap out of me. I mean, it changed my life in a microsecond. I went down this rabbit hole immediately, and I ain't never crawling out. I'm going to look for these things forever.
Yeah, nice.
Some people say that, and they're in the woods, they're hunting or hiking or whatever, and they come across them, and they're face to face with these things, and with this species. I don't want to call them things because I don't know what they are. I'm just telling you what they look like. And they're like, it's so dramatic, they just put it out of their mind, and they just put it out of their mind, and 8, 9, 11, 20 years later, they finally decide they got to talk about it.
Yeah,
and they say they just put it out of their mind. Yeah, they say they put it out of their mind. They don't even think about it. And I'm like, and I've said this, I don't know how many times, you got to be on the genius level to be able to do that. How can you not think about this every day like I do?
I think it's like a trauma thing, honestly. It's like your mind blocks it out, and you work hard to forget about it. And it's just a trauma thing.
I don't know how they do it. I don't.
Matt,
I'm like,
before your sighting took place, when you heard of the word Bigfoot, what did you think? I mean, were you a believer before then, or were you just like, yeah, whatever?
I was one of those guys, man. We all heard about it, and it was a Pacific Northwest kind of thing, Washington, whatever, Oregon, whatever, and that was it. Never thought about it, whatever. Except it wasn't on my radar in life, right? And so no, I didn't really believe in Bigfoot. I thought that's something I'm going to have to see on the 5 o'clock news, for months. It's going to have to be the topic of the national news and the world news for months, and which one day it will be for a long time.
Yeah,
we're close. We're close.
I want to grab your attention real fast and I want to know, do you want to talk about one of your more exciting finds? Okay.
Yeah.
because I didn't want to throw that out there unless you were comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
Let it rip, sister. I
I have
sent you pictures.
pictures
Yes.
pulled up, but do you want to kind of describe the scenario a little bit briefly, and then talk about the chaos of collecting this evidence?
Okay. Go ahead. Throw it up.
All right, all right. Let me get it up here.
I'm hoping you throw them up. I want to talk about it all, man.
There
There we go.
we
Okay.
go.
Everybody got. Hey, look at this thing. Gwendolyn
I'm
has seen
looking.
it.
I'm looking.
Okay. This handprint, y'all. This research area. It's a research hotspot. Look at the thumb. Look how the thumb kicks off to the outside. A
Yep.
human thumb runs up toward the index finger.
Yeah, that thumb's placed way too far down.
It is. And in Gwendolyn, there's another picture. Everybody needs to see how big this print is compared to my hand. Look at the size of that thing, Abe. Look at the size of the palm, brother. This was left. I have a research area out here that I've been working diligently almost every weekend since January. And look at the size of the palm, brother.
Well, I'm looking at that, but I'm also looking at the dermal ridges and the spaces in between
They're
them
all
too.
there.
Here.
They're
Yeah.
all
Yep.
there. They're all there. This was left on my truck in 2000, on April the 19th this year on a Sunday. Okay. This was on the passenger side of my truck. My hand is right there on the front passenger window. This is that space between the front door and the back door. Okay. I didn't even know I had this print. I had reached this area. I've been working since January. A property owner, he saw my interview with Kentucky Bigfoot that I did a year ago. I said on my story, I said on my 2019 story for 6 years, because you tell people about it. I wasn't going to tell anybody about it, but when you tell people about it, they kind of look at you like, man, what the hell, brother? What have you been smoking or how much you've been drinking? And you kind of get the eye rolls or whatever. And that will shut you up. It shut me up. It shut me up for 6 years. Brothers and my sister and friends, I would tell them about it. And everybody believed that I believed in what I saw in 2019, but nobody believed that it was Bigfoot. So that will shut you up. So I came out a year ago, March of this year. I actually became an investigator for the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization, which I'm very proud of. I've been doing my homework, man, and Charlie Raymond knows it, and he's a great man, and he's one of the best out there. He is so good at what he does. April 19th, researching this area, I was down on the driver's side of my truck, and I was, walking down this river on this private property and researching like I do almost every weekend. But I was on the driver's side of my truck, probably 500 yards downriver, up in the woods, just looking for tracks and sign like we do. And at some point, she came up on the passenger side of my truck, and I truly believe, and I do believe I have a she because I also have a young one. I have other tracks that go with hers. Hers are 13-inch tracks, and I've got multiple trackways, and I got multiple prints, toes, mid-tarsal breaks, you name it. I believe she come up and touched my truck. I think she stood straight up, and she was looking over the top of my truck, watching me go off down the river and into the woods, man. And there's a big deal about that too, because there's nothing in nature that has a smooth surface, and so many people get prints and all of that, and I think they just want to come up and touch it, and they can see the reflection. They want to touch that smoothness. They can obviously they can see the reflection in ponds and calm rivers, lakes. They can see the reflection, but when they get to coming up on people's vehicles, campers, and cabins, I think they can see the reflection and they want to touch it. They want to touch it.
You might have a left and a right hand print there.
Yeah, that is a right hand print.
Well, I'm saying you might have a left and a right hand print there, impression. I know it appears to be like one long one with a bottom left right here.
Okay.
But up more, it almost appears right above this part up here is like where another thumb a possible, well, look, give me a thumb if you
Okay.
blew that up.
Yes, sir. And so check this out. So when I went to the Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival there in Kentucky, I went to the VIP dinner because I was going to have Dr. Maria Mayer look at this, and she did. And I knew I would have the time for them to give it, a good look. And she was very intrigued by it. Lindsay Raymond, Charlie Raymond's wife, he's the founder of Kentucky Bigfoot.
I know Charlie well.
Oh, yeah, Charlie's a good dude, isn't he? Very, very intelligent man. Lindsay, she's retired fingerprint expert for the Canadian law enforcement, 20 years. And Lindsay literally, I was telling Gwendolyn about it there. She literally took the phone out of my hand, and she was right there next to me, and she was blowing it up, going around, and she was like, "Oh my God, Matt! Oh my God!" She goes, "This right here, this isn't human. Now this has loops, this has swirls, this has ridges, this looks human. This right here, this ain't human. There are parts of this print, that are a mixture. They're a mixture." And I'm out in the middle of the woods, mind you, brother, on this distinct private property when this got left. I didn't even discover it till I got home.
Right.
I didn't discover it until I got home.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. So did you dust this print before you took the picture, or is this how you found it?
No, I found it, and I'll explain that. So here we go.
I want to say it's interesting because a lot of the prints that you'll find that people take pictures of, it's actually the dust is removed from the vehicle already being dirty. This is the polar opposite. So your vehicle is cleaner than the print itself.
Exactly.
And so interesting.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. So I'm researching this property again. I do this almost every weekend, right? I'm going out again Sunday again. And so I do it all the time, weather permitting. When I had researched this area on the passenger side of my truck, I combed it pretty quick. 2 weeks earlier, there was a tree structure that went up. I sent you a picture, Gwendolyn, of the tree structure that went up. I had combed the area on the passenger side of my truck kind of briefly where this tree structure was. I always park my truck in basically the same place. I'm 100 yards or less from this river that cuts through this property. It's a moving river. Keep going.
I saw it. I'm going to keep going. Oh.
Keep going.
Coming.
Keep going.
Oh.
There. You got it. Yeah. That one and the one right before it. You can blow it up. This tree structure went up on a Thursday. The property owner goes out there. He don't live on this property. This is a big property. And he was out there on Wednesday morning. He was out there on Thursday morning. And then when he went out Friday morning, in this swing that he sits on every day, he's a cancer survivor, y'all. He had like 3% chance of living in life, and he made it. By the will of God, he's still here. And he sits in this 2-person swing, and he faces this mountain, and he talks to God every day, weather permitting. He's out there. And he was out there on Wednesday morning. He's out there on Thursday. And on Friday morning, as he was coming up to the swing, about 40 feet next to the swing was this tree structure that went up on a Thursday, probably at night. Got the X. These limbs are not tree fall either.
No, I'm looking out. It's actually wrapping over. One is wrapping over, and then the other is sitting. This is sitting actually on.
They are. They're actually supporting each other the way this thing was. And if you look at the grass right in front of it down there, you can see where the grass is all matted down where this thing just, it put it together. These limbs were brought there because the tree that's closest to it, the limbs on it are nothing like this. These limbs you can find, there's like 2 different kinds in there. These limbs were brought up in from behind it because I found the trackway. And this is about a 75-yard trackway with 4-foot strides, 13-inch tracks. And there's tracks that go behind it. And there are tracks that go down this dirt road, like where trucks and ATVs will go down to the river area on this property, where 13-inch tracks, 4-foot strides leading away from the front of this thing down this road. and then they go down, they curve around. I got another picture for you there, Gwen. If you can see, kind of like a little dirt road. These are the ones that came from behind it. If you can
Okay.
blow that up, you can see the leaf litter, the way it's smashed down. You can see where the toes grab. These things always grab with their toes for some reason. Not for some reason. It's what they do, and they do it without thinking. Uh, but you can see with this print, this went on for about 75 yards. This is down the road. These were leading down from the front of the tree structure, going down this road, and they go down. If you can back that out a little bit, make it a little smaller, you can see where the road goes down. This is going down toward the river. At the end down there, it curves off to the right, and it goes and it meets into a game trail. There's a game trail that comes in that way, and that's where I actually picked up on the tracks that come in behind that tree structure. Okay, so 2 weeks before the handprint, on a Friday, I'm at work, and the property owner, he discovered the tree structure, and he sent me the picture, and he said, this was here this morning when I got here on this Friday morning. I was out there first thing Saturday morning, did my complete investigation around it, and of course doing everything that we do. And then while I was doing that, we got rock clacks. I told you about a 75-yard trackway leading in behind it. There were in that area, there were rock clacks, and I heard them. There were 3 of them, and the property owner was he was talking, and I asked him, I said, hold on a minute, I want you to listen, just listen. And we're sitting there listening, and then he hears them. We get a second set of rock clacks. And I told him, I said, there's something back here. And you got to remember out here where we're at, people. We're out here in the middle of the woods, man. And we all know what rock clacks are. It's just another form of communication.
Yeah.
And so that's whenever the tracks are there. You can see him going down the road. And I told him, he's got a 3-year-old German Shepherd, which is a badass dog. I said, please just don't let him walk on them. Don't let him go. Just keep a hold of him here. And he did the tree structure. Now with this female, and I believe it's a female, and there's a reason for that, because the tracks are 13 inches. Okay. And then the first set of tracks I found off of about a 35-yard trackway along this river, running parallel with it off of a game trail, 13-inch tracks. See if you can find that, Gwen. I've got 2 tracks that you can see clearly going through the leaf litter, and then you'll see the leaf litter with the 2 tracks.
There's Matt.
Hey, there I am. That was part of what was on that road in front of the tree structure. You have to kind of come through there. That's the one behind it, that tree structure. All right, okay, go back, keep going. Keep going, sister, a little further. Okay, and one more back, right there. You can see the steps. These are 4-foot strides, hill to hill, going through the leaf litter. This whole thing went on for about 35 yards.
Wow.
It came out of tall grass. It came right beside the tree, right beside the game trail, in other leaf litter. And then you pick back up on it, and then it steps through the leaf litter. Now go to the next picture. These steps, there's actually another one up here in the leaf litter ahead of that led to this. This was the last step, and you can see where she left her print. This was the one print she left. My foot's right next to it. If you can blow that up, Gwen, you can see where the toes are right up in the edge of the grass. Where these toes, they grab right there. You can see them up in front of my boot. It's about a 13-inch track, and I've got them all over this property, all over. It's a very active property. Almost every weekend I'm finding new evidence all the time. And so I worked this area. The very next step, this is a left foot. The very next step had to go onto a log and into the creek. Okay. Hold that, Gwendolyn. Go back, if you would. I'm sorry. If you can go back one click, right there. You're there. One more. Yeah,
sorry.
Up to the base. It's okay. It's okay.
Must be a delay.
Hey, I cannot tell y'all. I am in a Bigfoot researcher's paradise, y'all. So much activity going through here. These 13-inch tracks. When I found this on March 21st, I now have a game camera that runs 24/7. It's solar powered, and it's one of the high dollar ones, man. It's running 24. It sends me all the alerts, you name it. I've got it pointing. These tracks came from the north, parallel with this river and with this game trail. So of course I set my camera up there, and it's pointing toward the way these tracks came. Okay. I thought it was a juvenile, a young juvenile, and I worked this trail with this print is. I worked that game trail, and it goes quite a ways for
Yeah.
about an hour and a half. I worked it for about an hour and a half after I found these. Worked the crap out of that trail. That was on March 21st. The very next weekend, March 28th, on that same trail, Gwendolyn, if you'll go to the next picture, if you'll go to the next one, right there, there's my juvenile tracks on the same trail that I had worked the weekend before. If you'll blow that up, I got 3 prints. You can see the toes, the middle print. You can see the mid-tarsal break. If you can bring that up, Gwen. You can see the mid-tarsal break. See it, Abe?
Yeah.
And then I've got a mid-tarsal.
It's hard to see in pictures because pictures
so
don't
sorry.
capture the definition, but I am seeing
Yes.
what
And
looks
then
like
there's a
tracks
third.
for sure.
I had 3 steps on this game trail that I worked the weekend before, and I mean, I worked the crap out of it. And these tracks are there again. These are 7.5 by 3.5. The 13-inch tracks are 13 by 5.5 consistently on this property. This set of tracks was heading south, where the 13s were heading north the weekend before, and they both end up at this log that these things step into the river and go across to the other somebody else's private property on the other side of the river. They're using the river to cross. There's a lot of areas to cross. I had a researcher out there this last Sunday. It's the first time I've had a Bigfoot researcher with me ever.
Wow.
Her name is Julia Ronan. She reached out to me a couple of months ago. We got connected, and finally this last Sunday, she finally made it out to this property. And this private property, this property owner, he guards this property highly. Okay, it's an oasis. It's a paradise out there, and I get why he guards it, and he's real particular about who comes on and whatever. But he trusts me, and so Julia Ronan came with me this last Sunday. I took her all through this area along this river, and she gets what I'm talking about. She'll tell you. She got it firsthand. And that area where the trackway from behind the tree structure, I told you it's about 75 yards long. And I had that one picture that you brought up through the leaf litter.
Yeah.
None of the tracks were on the game trail. All tracks, almost all of them, they're off the game trail, 1 foot to 3 foot. They stay in the grass. And why they do that, who knows? Who knows why they do that?
Yeah.
They're not actually stepping on the trail, but here they did. And so they have, but particularly they stay off the game trails.
Right.
Very active area, great area. And Gwendolyn, Guthrie, I told you, you ever get to Texas, I'm dragging you out there.
Yeah. It seems like
area.
just a wild location. And so this is kind of your stomping grounds. This is where you do a lot of your research. It's
I have 3 hot spots.
Because you got all those underwater aqueducts, and I mean they can get in those caves and stay cool, and
river flowing fresh water.
Right.
I mean, they can have chicharrones and all the pigs down there.
Everything. And one thing about this river, okay? So this river runs from south to north. It's one of 3 or 4 rivers in the United States that runs away from the ocean. The other 3 are in Minnesota.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, this river runs away from the ocean. It's an underground aquifer that, of course, comes out. It runs for over 30 miles, and then it runs into this reservoir that one really good print that had water in it.
Yeah.
This is west of that reservoir. This runs to it. These things follow the water. Of course they do. And then they follow the cleanest water they can. Who wouldn't and what wouldn't? This river, it comes up from underground about 10 miles from this property. Okay, from underground, and then this river has been running for tens of thousands of years. And the reason I can say that with confidence is the property owner He gave me a half shell, like a seashell.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a half shell that was fossilized. And this fossilized half shell, the seashell, it was more than a quarter of an inch thick. This thing was thick. And so I did the research on this, and it takes 10,000 to 1 million years to fossilize a seashell. And this seashell was about that thick. This river has been running for tens of thousands of years, and this species has been using this river system for tens and thousands of years or longer. Who knows? Pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
That is.
Everything that you would look for, everything that you would pray to come across is there. How lucky am I? How blessed am I? And this man has given me full access to this property. And last Sunday, I got Julia Ronan out there. Had my first Bigfoot researcher go out with me, and we're actually doing an experiment for Doug Hycheck now. Gwendolyn, Doug sent me this humming sound. Have you heard about this, Abe?
Yeah, I know. There may be some kind of a humming sound that's associated with possible
Absolutely.
infrasound.
It
And
is.
sometimes, yeah. So yeah, I know Doug. I've been to his house many times. He's only 15.
Yes, sir. What a great man. So he sent me the Snell Grove sound. And for those that don't know, Snell Grove, you get in a float plane and you fly over the Canadian wilderness for 3 hours over the forest before you land on this lake, and they drop you off. They'll come back and get you in a week and a half or so. And you unload all your equipment. 3 hours over the Canadian wilderness. You're out in the middle of nowhere when you get to Snell Grove, to this cabin area. And the sound that Doug sent me, Abe, and you've been there, is the Snell Grove hum. It's a humming sound. It almost sounds like a hummingbird wings next to your ear.
Right.
It's real quick, and it's coming from all over the country. Researchers.
Did we play that on the show, Abe?
And we did when we had Doug on there. It was like,
It is.
Yeah.
And so Doug sent me that. He sent me the Snell Grove sound out of Canada, and I'm playing it down there in Central Texas, y'all. And me and Julia Ronan, I had played it the weekend before on my phone, and I didn't have my Bluetooth speaker, but I was playing it on my phone. I played it 15, 20 minutes. I'm out there by myself in the woods, and I'm playing it. I'm not getting any reaction. It's a 1 second recording. I'm just pushing play over and over and over. And I'd wait and I'd listen. You know, I'm doing what you do, and I'm waiting and I'm listening, and nothing was going on. And so finally I gave up after about 20 minutes. I was going to let Doug know, hey, brother, it's time for me to leave, man. It's getting a little weird out there. Anyway, I headed back to my truck, and I put my shotgun in my 44 in my back seat. And I opened up my driver's side door, and I got ready to get in, and I got a wood knot out there in that same area. Behind the wood structure back in that area, I got a wood knot, and I sat there. And I did hit play several more times and waited for about another 50. I never got anything else, but I had to go. I had things I had to do on this Sunday. I had to go.
Well, that's cool. You got a wood knot from possibly playing that.
It was definitely.
It sounds like we're cut from the same. A lot of us are cut from the same cloth here, but we are at over the 2 hour mark here, Matt.
Oh, holy smokes!
I know, right? Well, why can't we go for 3, right? No.
I got to come back on. I told Gwendolyn, I said, we're not going to get everything what I'm doing.
You gotta have you come back on. Absolutely.
I will, but I got to let y'all know, since we're on the topic, and this is what's going on right now because of the handprint, tree structure, all the activity in this hot spot where I go. Julia Ronan came last weekend with me, and we played. Doug sent me a looped version that lasts for a minute.
Okay.
Over. So I don't have to push play as much, right? And we played it in different sections along this river, and we were getting wood knocks, and then we were getting smells. We were getting definite reactions up and down this river through this property. We worked back and forth. This is half a mile of this ancient moving clear water river. And we were getting smells. We were getting wood knocks. We're getting reaction. Doug Hycheck's pretty amped up on what's happening with the Snell Grove sound. out of Canada down here in Central Texas, and I'm going to play it every weekend. I ordered a Bluetooth speaker that Doug recommended, and it came in yesterday, and it's badass. It's going to be played, and Julia Ronan's supposed to come back out hopefully this weekend. If not, I'm doing it by myself.
Yeah.
'Cause that's my deal. That's my deal, man. Since
That's awesome.
since Bigfoot put me down this rabbit hole, man. June the 14th, it was this last Sunday when Julia came, and that was 15 years anniversary that my 20-year-old son died. And I don't. When he died, I can't even begin to tell you how traumatic that is in somebody's life. And he was 20. And then 7 years ago, I saw Bigfoot. And I saw Bigfoot for almost a minute. And so over the years since then, I've asked God, and why did my son die? And why did I see a Bigfoot? And I'm one of those guys now. It made me this way. I'm going to get busy living. You can get busy living or you can get busy dying. Because when I'm 85 years old, I'm not going to have any regrets. God's got my number. I don't have a death wish. I promise I don't have a death wish. But I'm going to get busy living. And when I'm 85 years old, I'm not going to say I wished I would have. I'm doing it. And Gwendolyn Guthrie will tell you, I'm right out in the middle of it, and I ain't ever going to quit. I'm in this rabbit hole, y'all. And everything that's coming from it is just getting bigger and better and bigger and better. And I'll keep y'all in the loop. And I do hope we get to come back on this show, because May 17th, I saw her. I saw my female. I got a half-second look of her, and the property owner got a blur look at her. He saw her too, but his was real quick. It was at the same time. I got to look at what left the handprint. So we need to do another show, because what happened that day and what happened since is escalating, y'all.
Oh,
this is going on.
We'll have to hear about that. But Sherry says that you have a life wish, not a death wish, a life wish.
I do. And everybody's like, man, they're like, you got so much enthusiasm, dude. And I'm like, I do. And, I don't know about orbs and ghosts and things like that. I'm not saying that those things aren't real. I haven't seen them, but I have seen Bigfoot. And when people talk about that, just because you haven't seen it, don't mean that it ain't real. And, and I'm a firm believer of that, because if somebody was telling me they saw Bigfoot before I saw Bigfoot, I'd probably went like, yeah, whatever. But I'm here to tell people these things are real. I got a really good look at it. These creatures are real. And I put my story on my son Ryan, y'all. And if anybody wants to argue with me about that, you know where to find me. You can come on to Facebook. You can find me. If somebody wants to reach out and tell a story, or maybe somebody even close to me here wants to maybe get in on part of this, reach out to me on Facebook. It's Matt Lankford. And I don't turn anybody away, but, please, y'all, and y'all know it, no trolls. Please, no trolls. You know, if I can find Bigfoot, I can find you, and I will find you. Don't do that. But
thank you so much for coming on tonight, man.
Absolutely, my brother.
You're awesome.
It was fun having you. You have to be captivated.
Hey, and Abe, brother, shoot me a friend request, please. Okay. And I'll keep you guys up to loop. Me and Gwendolyn were already really close. She's such a wonderful lady. That's like Miss Ohio, America. Y'all look at her. This is a Bigfoot researching badass. And you too, Abe. You go back way far, my brother. Very proud of both y'all know
You're
that.
awesome, Matt. You're awesome. Thank you so much for joining. And we'll probably have to get you on again. It was a good time. So we'll chat.
Fine.
No, you're good. Talk to you later.
I get all amped up, man. That's what I do. Bye, everybody.
Bye. God bless, man.